But first, let's talk about electric vehicles. The sale of EVs in the UK has slowed down so much the government has halved its sales forecasts. Now, the government had planned that by 2027, 67% of all new cars sold would be EVs. But now they're saying it's only going to be about 38%, and you won't believe who they're blaming for the decline in the popularity of EVs. Now, they're not blaming the exorbitant cost of EVs. They're not blaming the fact that you can't find a charging station for your EV. They're not even blaming the fact that electricity is now so expensive in the UK, sometimes it costs more to charge your electric vehicle than to put fuel in your regular car. No, they've found the culprit, the reason why the popularity of EVs is declining. Here's the villain. That's right, the House of Lords has blamed Mr Bean actor Rowan Atkinson, Caleb, for the declining popularity in EVs. Can you believe this?
As if you could not enjoy Mr Bean more. How good is this? Because Rowan Atkinson wrote an op-ed in The Guardian last year in June, and Rowan Atkinson is a noted petrol head, or more, I should say car enthusiast, because he's not entirely against the idea of electric cars. I'll get to that in a moment. But he's a noted car enthusiast and he's a qualified engineer. So he knows full well how all this stuff works. And he wrote in The Guardian last year that the problem lies with the lithium-ion batteries fitted currently to nearly all electric vehicles. They're absurdly heavy, huge amounts of energy are required to make them, and they're estimated to last only upwards of 10 years. Electric propulsion will be of real global environmental benefit one day, but that day has yet to dawn. So he was casting some doubt on the great white hope that we've been sold about electric cars.
Well, he said he felt he'd been duped about the environmental benefits.
The day will come, but we ain't there yet. There's no point you getting on board with the deal right now. And now the House of Lords says that's the reason no one wants to buy an electric vehicle. Isn't it extraordinary? Who knew the power of an actor? Now, we know that actors like to lecture us about politics all the time, right? For once, he's actually done some good in his lecturing.
Oh, I know, right? And like you say, he's got not only a degree, but a master's in engineering. Yeah. He'd switched to battery 9 years prior. So it's not like he isn't talking from personal experience. He'd been noting the deficiencies of said batteries for a long time. And you can't blame this on him. You've got companies like Volkswagen in the UK, GM in the US, they've mothballed their battery production because there simply isn't the demand for it. And you guys want to blame it on an op-ed that's not yet a year old. Of course, the House of Lords, much like the ACT here, they've already said they're planning on banning petrol and diesel cars, can't sell them from 2035. So they're going to go ahead with this anyway. That's what people need to realise. Despite the fact we laugh about what an abject failure it is, it's going to crash the grid, electricity's too expensive, we don't have enough electricity, renewables simply aren't cutting it. These governments are going to push this anyway, and the House of Lords are no different. So they're looking for some suspecting scapegoat, and they've got one in Rowan Atkinson, of all people. And I'm sure he's just absolutely chuffed with this. The Twitter on the feedback on Twitter was absolutely hilarious, with one person saying, if he is responsible, give that guy a knighthood. I can't believe he doesn't have one already, by the way.
We know Hertz Rent-A-Car in America, they've got rid of a third of their EV fleet because it was costing them so much in insurance, because every time someone crashed an EV, you know, the battery, even if it's just a little bit damaged, can be completely ruined. It's $10,000 or more. And I guess that's because most of the people who hire their cars are like this driver. This is my favourite topic of the night, Liz. I reckon we should just show Mr. Bean videos.
We could work one into every topic.
We could.
I mean, there's enough Bean footage.
In fact, we should do that one night. We'll have a Mr. Bean clip to go with everything. But can you imagine if, like, the Mr. Bean Mini is so iconic. Can you imagine if they tried to do Mr. Bean with electric vehicles? It just wouldn't have been the same. I just feel so sad, you know. When you get your first car, and I think we all remember our first car, right? You know, you obsess over it for a little while and you want to make these modifications and you want to soup it up and you dream about putting a turbo on it and all this sort of stuff, right?
Really?
You get an electric... Well, I don't know, maybe because you're a woman you never had that inkling, but it's such a thing for a young man to have his first car and love it and clean it everywhere, you know. Electric car, no noise, no grunt... Nothing great, no, you know, boy racer burble. I just feel so sorry for the kids of tomorrow who are going to have to put up with such a sanitised version of motor vehicles.